Alright, so in this video I want to go through attaching my wheels. I have everything else attached on here. You can see my 4 motors are on there. I got my little ESP plate on here and these on there. We're going to drag this thing around. We can do all sorts of movement stuff to it, and you can see they're all kind of like glued together. Great. So we've done a lot of fasten mates. Fasten mates are a great way of reducing all the degrees of freedom between two objects, but it's not the only mate that we can do, and it's also sometimes there's times where we don't want to remove every degree of freedom. For an example, one thing we might want to do is we might want to be able to visualize wheels. That wheels can still rotate even though they are fixed onto a point. So this is just a cool kind of visual thing. It's not necessarily going to help us in our design, but there are times where you might want to make two parts that are going to be able to kind of slide together so we can see how things are going to extend. I think if we look back to maybe this Rabbi old one, I don't know, I think they did this in here where they can slide out their parts and you can see one thing moving. Let's see, I think this should be working, although I could be wrong about that. But you should be able to, let's see, maybe I can, anyways, we might be able to demonstrate, for this one, I thought they did this, but maybe not, where you can extend out these individual parts to see how far they're going to extend. These are all slides that are going to kind of work in concert together to extend. Let me just try one last one. No, okay. But we might want to demonstrate that kind of relationship between those. But also, it could just be kind of cool. So what we're going to do in here in our wheels, we're going to use a Revolute mate. So Revolute mate, in this case, we are going to pick one point to be serves as the rotational point, and the secondary is a stationary point. So all that means is the thing that's going to rotate is the thing we select second. And actually, this also demonstrates a cool thing in OnShape. So if I click here, I'm going to click this point as the edge of my motor, and then I'm going to click this little connect mate down here. So actually, something kind of cool happens here. You might notice that, oh man, things just got messed up. This motor just popped out and attached onto the wheel, and now things look all messed up. Oh my god, everything's broken. But what's happening here is that Fusion is actually, or OnShape is not actually fully rendering this. It's not figuring out exactly how all these parts are gonna go in order to save some kind of memory and compute space on your computer to make things kind of work together a little bit quicker. So this is not actually how the final thing is going to look. It's just kind of doing a demonstration of this particular mate, these two things. If we want to see how everything's going to look all together, we can hit solve, and it'll run a little bit more of the complex simulations to figure out where exactly everything's going to fit. And we see, oh, the wheel's actually on there, the motor's still in place, all that stuff. But it might look kind of freaky to attach two things and suddenly everything seems broken. It's not actually broken, just that one part's on there. So that's one kind of cool thing. Then we're going to hit OK on this. And what's fun on this, if we go over to Revolute on the left here, we can say animate, we can hit play, and we can see the wheel actually moving. And that's demonstrating that there's still 1 degree of freedom left between these two things. Even though I could grab this, I can try and grab this wheel and try and drag it away. It's not going anywhere. Everything's kind of coming with it. I could try to move it down. These degrees of freedom, these other degrees of freedom have all been removed. I can't kind of rotate it in one way without rotating everything else. But this 1 degree of freedom is left. So I thought that was kind of a cool demonstration. Not super practical for us. A fasten mate would be totally fine here as far as our purposes, but it is kind of worth demonstrating that little extra thing. All right, so I'm going to stop there, but add the rest on, and then we'll do the last video for making a custom piece.